Okay, so good morning sa inyo lahat. So, discuss natin a little bit kung paano ba natin tatakihin ang loading. So, just share my screen and I'll walk you through the presentation. Siyempre para hindi lugi, ang ginawa natin is another analysis involving a different building ano, para kung parang kung may ginawa man lalo, hindi siya pero we consider na absent muna tong in red. So para ma-force natin na two-way loading later on. So you have here a three-story na residential na building. So these are the specifications. Ang ginamit natin is ito, 8.7, 7.9, 3.1, 3.4, and 1.6. Then yung Eaves length is L over 6. Yun yung pinlagin dito. So, ganito yung itsura niya. Kung yung concern, yung frame concern lang natin. So, yung isang interior na frame, yung concern natin. So, we set absolute references to prevent confusion. So, instead na we refer to every time na depende dun sa directional procedure, na windward na face, leeward na face, uh, windward na wall, side na wall, it's best to refer dun sa absolute na reference. So for example, you have your building, pwede mong sabihin na yung west wall, yung east wall, yung west roof, yung east roof, yung north wall, and yung south wall. Para madali nating ma-distinguish every time. Yung kung sa ba i-apply loading on every case dun sa directional procedure natin. So as with wind design goes, so we get the design wind speed. So for this example, say to Mindanao, inabot natin is 285 kilometers per hour. Siyempre mga mahalagang parameters, yung wind directionality factor, yung topographic factor, and yung velocity exposure coefficient. Which I think pwedeng I would suggest yung formula yung gamitin all the time. So ito yung ginamit ko para makuha yung K sub H for the mean hook height, para makuha yung QH. And moving on with the directional procedure, siyempre SOP, yung the windward side and the leeward side. So again, we're mentioning one case, so the winds are coming from the west. So ito ngayon yung windward na wall, yung leeward na wall sa likod, ito yung windward na roof surface, ito yung leeward na roof surface. So you can compute yung CP values depende sa dimensions. So kung depende sa roof slope, yung H over L. So remember that yung L is yung aspect na parallel dun sa direction ng wind, uh, yung H is yung wind. And again, we take note of some key aspects. So for example, sa walls, mahalaga na check natin yung aspect ratio all the time. Although some literatures would suggest na yung longer side over the shorter side yung kunin na ratio, pwede rin naman yung opposite, shorter over longer side. So in this case, if 3.4 yung height or 3.1 dito sa baba, over 7.9, that will be less than 0.5. Therefore, greater than 2, quote unquote, yung longer over shorter, and this will lead us to assert na one-way loading siya. So, itong 1.49 kPa na nakuha natin from the window, yung 1.28, 1.27, and so on, yun yung co-convert natin. On the other hand, yung purlins, ay one-way loading since ano lang naman, two parallel members lang naman yung nagsusustain ng. So this is how you determine. So again, balikan natin. Nakuha natin to 1.27, 1.28. Yun yung i-multiply natin doon sa pertaining na spans para makuha yung distributed load. So take note yung sa baba, diretso na sa lupa yung transmission, kaya hindi na siya kasama. Ito lang yung naka-apply sa frame, yung concern natin. For 3D analysis, hanggang dito matatapos actually yung load analysis. So ito na yung loading case mo. Pero since we're doing plain structural analysis lang muna, 2D lang muna, we need to convert this into yung katumbas niya na equivalent niya na load dun sa plane na structure. So you have the windward side and you have the leeward side. So depending nga sa CP value. So it's best to prepare an engine para i-accommodate niya agad. So hingin lang niya yung pressure, then i-return na agad. Yeah. Yung distributed loads, then kung 2D man yung analysis mo, pang-convert to an equivalent na load for the plane, then kung hindi naman, syempre pwedeng diretso ng line load siya, tapos muna lang fix and force. So, after getting the distributed load, syempre kailangan nga natin, speaking of equivalent load, kailangan natin i-determine kung ano ba yung overall na load na ina-apply niya to system. So if you're mentioning, for example, dito sa distributed line load at 9.6 meters high, so kung sa pinakataas, so 2.537 times yung half ng span nito, tas yung half ng span nito. So overall, 7.9 meters kasi nga isang span itong 7.9 meters ito. So kalahati plus kalahati, isang buo pa din siya. So you have 20.4, 37.7, 35.71, 31.6. Similarly, ganun din yung treatment sa leeward. So from pressure, na-convert natin siya to point load na apply sa plane mo. So ito nga yung plane structure na concern. Ito lang. Yung out of plane, convert natin to equivalent. So take note that we only do this because the analysis is only planar and we reduce the out-of-plane forces into their concentrated load counterparts. In reality, the load definition will stop at the distributed loads applied to the moment. Then the fixed end forces are evaluated. So, sa purlins naman, kailangan mong himayin yung bawat isang purlin kasi possible na iba-iba yung span niya. So, in this particular example, yung westmost na purlin, okay, meron tayong pressure from our wind directionality directional na procedure from earlier. So, negative 1.313 kPa. Then, to get yung span, so 0.26, so ito yung distance ng purlin from the edge ng truss. Well, at the same time, yun yung edge ng groove. Tapos yung 0.6 over 2, ito naman yung kalahati ng regular spacing truss. So, what you'll get, syempre knowing na 7.9 yung span. So, half span ulit, time plus half span, isang buong span, yun yung tributary area ng purlin na eventually will help you determine yung concentrated load na magiging ma-apply mo dun sa truss, which is 5.82. Similarly, ganun lang din sa regularly spaced na part. So, yung hindi sa dulo, alam natin na 0.6 yung span ng bawat purlin dito. Then, syempre, mahalaga rin himayin yung sa apex. Because sa apex, it caters yung both na sa windward at sa although in reality, hindi mga engineers hindi kinoconnecta yung purlin dun sa apex ng roof mo. Meron na actually dalawang purlins na C-sections na back-to-back na naka-incline siya. Because for the sake na madaling ma-install yung roof sheeting. So doon kasi doon sisinsinan, so kailangan at least dalawang members yung sasalo noon while at the same time, para nga madaling ma-fasten, while at the same time, yung kasing dulo ng roof sheet, so kadalasan mag-aano ng flat na GI to cover yung apex. Similarly, ganun lang din yung treatment on the leeward na side and dun sa pinakadulo, yung pinakadulong purlin. So purlin yan, hindi purlin. So your plane structural analysis for this particular wind load scenario is 1.8. So this concerns external pressures lang muna. You can do the same treatment with internal pressures. So para lang again, tributary area, para makuha yung forces. Similarly, ganun din dun sa sa main frame mo. So dito sa part na to. So, dapat naka-ready lang siya. So ito yung ipa-plugin natin sa MSA. Pero wait lang, before i-plugin sa MSA, we need to consider na okay, since ito yung windward na phase, syempre may overhang siya. And yung overhang, as the code stipulates, dapat meron kang positive pressure na merong coefficient pressure of 0.8. So you determine that, then eventually co-convert natin to equivalent na point load applied dun sa usog na applied dun sa nodes ng iyong truss. Naglagay lang ako ng extra na member dito, pati extra na member dito because yun yung dapat na intersection ng truss at frame. Kailangan triangular elements lang para ma-ensure na stable yung truss mo. So pag wala yan, meron kang unstable na part. So to eliminate yung unstable na part, maglalagay tayo ng extra member. Dito, extra na member. So ito yung mga applied na forces. And that will lead you in determining yung force na force vector mo. So ito yung bawat points. So yung sa truss, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hanggang 23, then 24 hanggang 46. So yun. For the frame, actually walo yan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So mako-correct naman yan. So unahin muna natin yung sa truss. Sa truss analysis, pwede natin siyang independently isolve. Then, makukuha ka syempre ng internal forces which yung gagamitin natin for design. Design of member while at the same time design ng connection. So, most of them are undergoing compression but some of them are undergoing tension. So, we need to do both checks in tension design and compression design to ensure that yielding or tensile failure doesn't occur or buckling doesn't. So, that will be covered on by the later lectures. On the other hand, ang key na kailangan muna nating kunin so far are yung reaction forces. Yung reaction force dito and yung reaction force dito. Because yun yung magiging applied na load na ipapasa niya doon sa frame na part mo. So parang two-stage siya. So sinimulan mo sa truss, then pinasa mo sa frame. So meron kang loading ngayon sa frame like this. So syempre since quote-unquote ginawa natin siyang support, and downward yung reaction force na nakuha, in reality ang pinapasa niya dun sa sa frame is yung opposite ng mga forces na nakuha natin from the MSA. Yeah, lang natin, invert lang natin yung direction ng forces. Then lahat ng to nakuha na natin. May missing lang na arrows pero dapat nandiyan yung arrows na yan. Yun yung ipo-plugin natin for the MSA ng frame. Kalimutan ko na naman i-mention, siguro pahabol ko na lang sa Friday, na pwede rin actually nang gawin na isang buong MSA lang yan, isang buong analysis lang. But we have to discuss first the concept of releases and self-straining, which I think sa Friday na natin ni-discuss. This will help you lang to finish yung inyong problem set, which is problem set or project, which is due, I believe, sa Friday. So ito yung MSA result. So you have the KFF right here, then you have the KSF, KFS, then KSS. So inano na agad natin. So again, yung restraints because pin support to. So it's free to rotate even dun sa baba na part sa node 1 at sa node 5. Okay, included sa KFF. So yung restraint lang is yung X and Y na displacements along 0.5 saka 10.5, 10.1. And again, makukuha na natin yung theta. Yung displacement vector natin. And yun yung gagamitin natin for each of the frames. So sa bawat frame, meron kang syempre nagawa na local element stiffness matrix, transform mo para magawa yung transform na element stiffness matrix. And ito yung from the analysis from earlier, ito yung results ng analysis. Imumultiply mo lang siya with the transformed states matrix. So basically, meron kang fixed and force, meron kang nodal force na along the global, and kailangan mo siyang i-transform ulit, multiply mo with that by the transformation matrix para maibalik mo siya sa original na orientation. So ito yung with respect sa local axis ng member, because ito yung gagamitin mo sa analysis to get yung maximum axial. So obvious naman dito na 30.51 yung axial force. Tapos meron kang shear na 21.22. Then meron kang moment. And yung moment can be represented by a function right here. So 40.67 minus 21.22. And what you'll get here actually is an M max of 80.28 kilonewton. So yun yung ginagamit sa design. Pero wait lang, because sinolve lang natin to as is. Ito yung nakabang. So ito yung resulta from the wind. So gawin mo yung similar analysis kahit hindi mo nagalawin yung matrix. Huwag mo nang galawin yung matrix kasi yung matrix magagalaw lang, yung nagawa mo mga element stiffness matrix, magagalaw lang yan kapag determine ka ng different na member. So halimbawa, kaya kailangan mahalaga yung preliminary member selection para ma-build up mo yung matrix in the first place. Ito na yung sa part ng design. So after mong magawa yung analysis, yes, adequate, pero parang yung preliminary section mo give you yung yung internal forces. Then you check mo whether yung internal forces exceeded yung capacity to say para yun yung gusto mong iwasan, greater than dun sa capacity, yung internal forces na nararanasan. So i-update mo ulit yun, i-update mo yung member, you select a new member, pa-update mga matrix. So ganun yung magiging analysis. So I'll be sending you yung file kung saan ginawa ito. So meron kang for wind, then syempre meron kang function for may makukuha ka ring moment function na katumbas for dead load, meron ka ring function na makukuha for length. Kahit dito sa point na to, saka mo i-apply yung factor load. So halimbawa, 1.2 dead load plus 1.6 live load plus 1 times wind load. Nga lang external pa lang to, kailangan pang kunin yung sa internal. So may moment function ka rin na makukuha from the internal. So pwedeng ganun yan. The principle of superposition applies anywhere within your analysis. Wait lang. So rinse and repeat lang. Ganun lang din. So yung case 1A-2. So ito na as a directional procedure because ito yung maximum at saka yung minimum. So yung interval yung kinukuha. So you need to consider yung other case on which itong naka-highlight in red yung loading mo for the windward. Okay. So yung windward na case lang naman yung mag-back. Then you redo the analysis. One last note before I let you go into doing your project. So hopefully makatulong to. So for example, meron ka two-way load. The reason na tinanggal natin yung red kanina, because para masabi natin na two-way loading, for example, itong floor na to, itong span na to. So meron kang 7.9 meters by 8.7 meters. So this parang definitely less than 2 yung ratio between the longer over shorter. So gagamitin mo yung two-way loading case. Pero bago yun, syempre, if for example, live load yung pinag-uusapan natin and na-determine based to occupancy na classroom, so sa code, meron kang makukuhang live load na 1.9 kVA. But take note that you have to apply live load reduction factor shown by the formula right here. And pag in-apply mo yung live load reduction factor from 1.9, mababawasan yun. Nagiging 1.4. And at this point, we need to take note which is the shorter side and which is the longer side. Because sa shorter side, we use this formula. So P, yung kung ano man yung pressure, apply dito, uniform pressure over 3 times yung shorter na side. So itong S na to, hindi siya yung span. Ito yung shorter side. So 1 over 3 times 1.29, kuha natin kanina, times 7. Meron kang 3.42. Ito yung line load mo. On the other hand, since out of the plane siya, kailangan mo i-convert siya sa katumbas niya na concentrated load para ma-apply mo siya dun sa plane na structure, which is this one right here. Since kinonsider ko lang yung kabila, itong side na to, syempre wala pa yung kabilang side na yan. So, kailangan mo pang i-plus later on. Pero if you consider simply this, meron kang yun nga, 1 half central capacitance span. So, 7.9 times 3.42, which is on line load from earlier. So, meron kang 13.49 kilonewton. So, concentrated load yan. Pero hindi pa tapos, meron ka pang distributed load din also from the longer side. So, sa longer side, medyo complicated lang. Pero this formula right here will give you the equivalent na distributed load dun sa uniformly distributed na load dun sa longer na side. So, meron kang P over 3 times S. So, again, yung pressure na nakuha mo from earlier, 1.29 kPa times yung shorter na side. Kasi ito yung sa longer na side. So, you plug everything in, meron ka ng uniformly distributed na line load. And since line load siya na-applied doon sa sa plane mo mismo, so kailangan mo siya, and ang concern natin is nodal forces lang, kailangan natin siyang i-convert into fixed and force. So you use yung available na formula. So in this case, this falls under this. So you use that. So this assumes na downward yung force, yung uniformly distributed load na Q. And as a result, meron kang gantong quote-unquote reaction, which yung fixed and forces. So after you compute, actually from that, magiging ganito siya. And ito yung ipa-plugin mo sa MSA. Pero take note na kapag sa MSA na P minus PFEF. So hiwalay yung nodal force na action na external, tapos hiwalay siya dun sa FEF. So na-discuss naman natin to previously sa class. And we can only do this again, may nilagay lang naman tayo na disclaimer palagi dyan sa book. So, tips lang. So, gagawin mo ulit siya sa case 1B, gagawin mo ulit siya sa case 1C, sa case sa project. Then, instead na gawin nyo pa yung case 3A and case 3B, pwedeng gawin nyo yung analysis sa case 1A, then sa case 1B, then pwede nyo ma-estimate si case 3A. So, the principle of superposition. So, pareho pa rin naman ng sagot yung makukuha if you were to do this. So, again, ito yung MSA results from case 1A, plus yung MSA results ng case 1B. Plusin mo yung dalawa times mo sa 0.75. Yun din yung katumbas if yung gumawa ka ng MSA involving yung case 3. Okay. And that will be all for today. Kita-kits tayo sa Friday. So, good luck.